Welcome back in WCTV Senior Spotlights. We're continuing our fall 2022 graduates. You've seen Caleb Yager, you've seen Brock Owens. Now today I'm joined alongside Tony Grillo. Tony, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Logan.
So my first question, we all know coming from high school, the application process to college. So what was your process like and what made you want to come to Waynesburg?
Well, honestly, before finding out about Waynesburg, I was going to go to community college for a year, maybe get some of my gen eds out of the way. And during my junior and senior year, I was doing the morning announcements at my high school, and everyone always noted that I had a good voice. One of my friends' mothers actually gave me like a little brochure about Lanny's sports announcing camp out here. And that's how I got to find out about Waynesburg. I kept in contact with Lanny prior to the camp. And I kept in contact with some of the guys from there, and the experience was great. And I thought, I'm going to community in the fall, but after that, this is the school I want to get into.
Absolutely, Lanny Fratteri is a huge contact and a huge name in this department. Brings a lot of people in.
He does.
During your time at Waynesburg, we talked about Lanny Fratteri. He was kind of your segue to come to Waynesburg. But during your time here, which professor would you say was the most influential or maybe the most helpful along your way throughout college?
Oh gosh, it's hard. They've all been very, very influential. Let's see. Well, definitely say Lanny's a big one. I always keep in contact with him. We always talk every once in a while outside in front of Buell. I would also say that Melinda would be another one. I feel like every semester here I've had a class with Melinda, and it's always been one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Doug Wilson as well. His radio stuff really helped me to better myself with radio shifts, and even some of my podcasts as well.
So you bring up your podcast, which I think is a good kind of point I wanted to make. Talk about your internship that you did. I actually just sat in, watched your internship presentation. I think you did a very good job. But
thank you.
Talk a little bit more about your internship and kind of what was your favorite part of the whole process?
Oh, well, you see, there's so many great aspects. But I guess the big thing was I was doing something that I enjoyed, which related back to something I'd done here, and I got to co-host a couple podcasts with one of my very good friends back home. And I like that because we'd always talked about doing something like this, and my internship really gave us a chance to do it.
So with your internship, you kind of touched a little bit about potentially doing some voice acting. Have you really found a love for doing voice acting, or with your internship, have you kind of found a new love for podcasting?
Well, I mean, there's nothing saying I can't do both.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, voice acting was what I was really setting out to do. I kept thinking about what my dad, one of my cousins told me. I have a good voice, and initially I really wanted to focus on radio. And while I do love radio, they reminded me like, is that all you want to do? And I thought, I kept looking. I took some special voice acting lessons over the course of my last semester here, and I was able to record some demos of myself, which I feel my internship actually helped me with because one of the scripts, I took a look at it and it said, it gave me a similar vibe to how I would start one of my podcasts, so I read it in that manner, and my coach loved it and told me to keep that mindset.
So you have a lot of big time help here at Waynesburg. You've had a lot of help throughout your internship. Moving on past Waynesburg, what are you kind of looking forward to doing once you officially graduate and walk across that stage?
Oh my gosh, when I crossed the finish line. Well, I mean, I actually was very fortunate to luck out on a Black Friday deal the other day. It was, I'm on a voice acting website. I was talking with my cousin over the break about maybe investing some more money into myself with it, and there was a deal about where I can get 80% off the premium subscription for the site, which I took, and instead of paying $500, I've only paid $100, and the job offers have been really rolling in so far.
That's great to hear, Tony.
Yes,
we love Black Friday deals. They're totally amazing. Favorite time of the year for anybody that loves shopping. But during your time here at Waynesburg, you've done a lot of stuff with radio, as you mentioned. You've had your fair share of times up here on the desk doing talent. If you had to say, what would be maybe one of, if not your favorite moment here at Waynesburg, whether it be television or being behind the microphone on WCYJ FM?
Oh, that's tough because I've done a lot of great things, a lot of very memorable things. But I think I would have to go with hosting the very first episode of Nerd Alerts. It was my WCTV debuts, and I'll admit, when I look back and I thought, oh, it's like one of those high school memories you have you don't want to look back on. But I take a look at it and think, okay, this is where I started, and I'm going to keep getting better with each show I'm on.
Yeah, I've only been here for 3 years. I've seen you grow quite a bit with your time up here, being talent for Nerd Alert, The Buzz, other shows. You're graduating with guys like Caleb Yager, Brock Owens, Joel Zellum. And what kind of influence did they have on you up here in the department? How helpful was Caleb and Brock and anybody else here in terms of helping you grow in front of the camera?
Oh, well, see, I've been on with Caleb and Brock multiple times. They've become really good friends to me. And I've got to say, they've helped me with things like delivering my lines or preparing my scripts. And they're always just really fun to talk with behind the scenes. Like, we always quote SpongeBob before we start filming, and that always eases my nerves a little bit.
So I was going to ask Caleb this question, but since you brought up SpongeBob, I have to ask you, what is your favorite SpongeBob quote? If you could only pick one, what would you say your favorite SpongeBob quote is?
It's hard. There's so many good ones. But the one I keep going back to is, I use this one a lot. It's the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick are in Sandy's tree dome while she's hibernating. And Patrick goes at one point, "This is taking too long. I want the worm now." I always say that when I'm in lines nowadays. When the line is longer than 2 people, I have to say.
SpongeBob's got a ton of great quotes. Tony, your time here. I need to ask you for one of your quotes. What is some life advice that you would give to somebody? Doesn't matter if it's in front of a camera, behind a microphone. What's just some general life advice you'd give to somebody?
Well, don't be afraid to be yourself, because you never know. Like I talked about with my internship yesterday, I was really nervous about pitching one of my ideas, which was about animation, and I thought this is something that the organization I'm working with doesn't have, but there could be an audience for it, and that's a big thing I think about too, with voice acting as well. There's an audience for everyone and everything, and you never know.
Absolutely, you never know. Always be yourself. That's a great quote, Tony. I'm hoping to one day perhaps hear your voice behind the television while my kids are watching some cartoons. But that's it for our senior spotlight here with Tony Grillo. Stay tuned for the rest of our fall 2022 graduate class, where I will sit down with Joel Zellum and Silas Mays.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.